Hello everyone, I all hope you had a very wonderful, blessed morning and a very great morning indeed, and a very great day. And I all hope you guys are all enjoying your holidays and your December holidays, which are exactly here right now as well. As you guys quietly know, next week is my last week of shooting these episodes. So I all hope you'll exactly enjoy your blessed holiday and your blessed December and Christmas as well, and also Christmas Eve as well as Happy New Year as well. As you guys quietly know, today is exactly Thursday, so the gardening people are exactly here. So they'll be making a lot of noise and everything else. But you have to exactly bear with me. Despite that, guys, I'm very grateful for your support in watching and in viewing my episodes. It gratefully, completely means a lot to me. As in, literally does mean a lot to me. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful December and a wonderful holidays. Anyway, on today's episode, we're to speak about Earth Child, who is a superhero and a member of the Universal Heroes who want to restore sacred peace and sacred balance to the sacred world and to the rest of humanity and to the rest of the known universe and to the rest of sacred existence in the process. Let's begin. In Earth Child's early life, she comes from a planet known as Planet Storm, which is quite on the far fringes of the sacred universe, and she was quietly raised by evil warlords and commanders and warlocks and druids and witches on her home planet, which was quietly filled and ruled by evil warlords and commanders and druids and dark witches. The evil warlords exactly commanded her. Evil warlords exactly raised her to become a high professional assassin with her skills and dedication to becoming highly compatible skills in manipulating the power and the ability of manipulating Earth itself, and also with the ability granted of manipulating Earth itself, she was granted with the ability of intelligence and the ability of level intellect genius as well. During that time in her early life, Earthchild exactly discovered that the warlords were exactly planning to invade the other known worlds of the island worlds. They were planning exactly on invading the other known island worlds and civilization. To that point, she exactly assisted them and aided them on the invasion. The evil warlords and warlocks and druids and witches use their battleships and their battle cruisers and their hot war balloons as well, and their battleships and their battle airship fleet in invading the other known island worlds and civilization in the process in order for them to exactly take it over. They completely able to take over the island worlds and cities and planets in a matter of minutes and in a matter of time. To doing so exactly, they were able to suppress the other creatures. They were able to suppress the other creatures' ability of freedom and also fighting back also fighting back as well. To this point, the creatures were heavily defeated and they were heavily overpowered and heavily overmatched. Earthchild exactly realizes that the evil warlords and commanders and druids and dark witches and warlocks were doing is very quietly wrong and very, very quietly destructive, meaning that this attack and war could create destructive consequences for them in a far future of the Sacred Galactic War itself. To this point, they continue invading other worlds, other island worlds, and civilizations and cities as the evil warlords and commanders and druids and dark druids and dark witches and evil warlocks exactly came up with a very strategic plan to invading other worlds and other cities and capital island volcanic cities of the magical creatures of the warlocks and witches and druids and fairies as well, all living together in harmony. They even created a holographic map of the known worlds and of the known island volcanic cities and worlds and planets in order to exactly invade them. And Earthchild was quietly present within that meeting as well. During at that meeting, she was quietly exactly attending a meeting. She was quietly present when the evil warlords and warlocks and dark druids and dark witches exactly attempted to plan a coup, meaning in other words, a coup d'etat to overthrow the rightful leaders of those cities and those worlds and those planets from the throne. During that time, they orchestrated a highly level planning in order to invading the other worlds and the other island worlds and cities with a coup, with the inside operatives on the inside, and in order with a strategical plan. The other evil warlords exactly suggested that an attacking them would be quite too prominent, but it's best for them to exactly conquer it, and it's best for them to exactly orchestrate it. Earthchild exactly exactly decided in order to volunteer to exactly lead the coup d'etat, and also to taking steps to ensuring the evil warlords and commanders and druids and warlocks and witches a victory that will be heavily be sealed, and that the victory will be heavily sealed and be heavily reassured that they will exactly return victorious as well. The evil warlords exactly sent Earth's child straightly into the far fringes of the known capital volcanic cities of the island worlds of the fairies, witches, and druids. There she was able to study everything else, and seeing that there are other evil fairies and other evil witches among the other good folks of the supernaturals and aliens and superhumans, she decided in order to work with them and also gladly to partner up with them as well to fight, to join forces against a common enemy. During at this point, the evil fairies and the evil druids and warlocks and witches exactly joined forces against each other and started planning a coup in order to overthrow the rightful fairy leaders, the rightful fairy king, and the rightful fairy queen from their throne. And they heavily succeeded with the help and the assistance and the aid of Earthchild. During at that time, the evil warlords and commanders and warlocks and druids were heavily informed that the coup has quietly taken place, meaning it's time for them to dispatch their army across the cities and across the known worlds and across the capital volcanic cities of the sacred world and of the sacred universe for them to exactly begin conquering, which they exactly began. They brought their army of battle tanks and an army of battle mech suits marching straightly to the capital city of the volcanic worlds and marching straightly to the capital magical volcanic cities and worlds, and the entire sacred magical kingdom of the capital city was under the sole control and had been conquered by the evil warlords and druids and witches and faithful. At the end of the victory, Earthchild exactly decided to betray her masters and her rightful leaders. To this point, she exactly manipulated the crystals in order to forfeit her escape, and she gladly exactly fought back against her previous masters and exactly retreated away and disappeared. One Dark Sister exactly told Earthchild that they will soon exactly meet one another, and that the day that they will soon exactly meet one another will be the worst day ever, and that the day that will exactly soon meet one another will be the greatest victory ever they're about to exactly achieve. Despite this, the warlords and the druids and the warlocks and the commanders and the Dark Sisters were all very, very victorious, that they'd managed to conquer the entire capital city of the magical volcanic cities of the fairies, witches, druids, and also warlords and commanders and warlocks as well in the process, which they started putting a flag of their symbol of the empire and of their nation as well throughout the capital city's walls and statues as well, remarking of their victory and their heavily victorious victory of their conquest has finally been able to bear fruit. The people of the capital city of the magical city began exactly creating statues of the warlords, witches, dark druids, and warlocks and commanders who gladly exactly took over their city and conquered it, and they were able to exactly begin to worship them as the rightful leaders and rulers of their worlds and their planet. And the evil warlords and commanders and warlocks and druids and witches and dark faithful began turning the entire volcanic city into a huge capital city by transforming it and by heavily modifying it with a great by establishing the peace treaty and also its control over its borders, by creating highly advanced battleships and highly advanced battle war balloons and highly advanced battle war balloons and battle airship fleets and also battle cruisers and warships as well, in order to mark up their conquest and their control. Over the following years, Earthchild exactly remained in watch over the victories of our former masters, who've gladly exactly conquered the rest of the known cities of the rest of the volcanic cities, and she decided that it's time for her to exactly leave and begin her new journey and her new difference. Over the following years, she's heard the rumors of the original Lord of Magic's demise and death, which created a power vacuum throughout the Shadow Empire, which forcing the Shadow Empire warlord and commander to secretly forming alliances with ancient groups of supervillains to secretly supply them with destructive and compatible technology. During at this rate, Earthchild decided to make a difference within the supernatural community and within the alien community and within the superhuman community on the 20th of April, on the 20th of April, on the 20th of April, yes, on the 20th of April, where she exactly decided to make a huge difference, and she helped the citizen and the rest of the creatures in order to exactly fight back for their villages and also for their clans, and they exactly did so, and they were able to triumph and able to exactly vanquish and remove the invaders and the conquerors away from their cities and away from their planets. Earthchild was exactly praised as a hero, and despite that, she was quietly pleased that she was exactly a hero that she was always exactly meant to be. But despite that, exactly the people of the worlds and the planets exactly warned Earthchild of the new Lord of Magic and of the Universal Prince and of the members of the founders and the members of the Order of the Five and the members of the Court of Nature, who are more powerful and are more dangerous and are very, very, very untouchable and are very, very indestructible as well. Their resources and connection is very powerful and very highly connected. Earthchild exactly realizes that she's gonna have to start very small in order to make a huge difference, in order to disrupt the efforts of the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders as well. On the on the on the on the 9th of May, Earthchild exactly began traveling to the eastern side, of the volcanic worlds and planets in order to know more about the new Lord of Magic and his history and his past and everything else. But the guardians of the great temple exactly gave her all the knowledge and all the history and supplied her with everything else. She continued to exactly study more about him and everything else until she heard the word known as a fallen, who's an ancient powerful supervillain who has been banished to the dark dimension to remain prison for his crimes for creating chaos and destruction upon the sacred world and upon the rest of sacred existence many centuries ago, and still is exactly remaining. During that time, Earthchild exactly studied everything about the new Lord of Magic and about his history, his connection to the goal of the original Lord of Magic, and everything else he's been successfully doing as well. On the 20th of May, Earthchild was able to exactly pick up more clues and everything else about the ancient history and the texture on the enemy, on the new enemy that the universal heroes are facing, and on how to help them exactly defeat them once and for all. To this point, Earthchild exactly left the volcanic ancient temple and decided to exactly tell the guardians that she is very grateful for the knowledge that they gratefully supplied her, that it's time for her to exactly make a remarkable difference as well. Universe, stop. Stop, universe. Stop. She decided in order. Sorry about that, guys. Despite that, she decided in order to make a difference. Despite that, guys, she exactly left and told the guardians that she's very grateful for them giving her all the ancient texts and all the ancient knowledge. And for that, from their point on, she decided to exactly leave on in order to make a difference to the other side of the sacred world. On the 20th of June, Earthchild exactly arrived on a different world where that is full of aliens, creatures, and superhumans who are living together in harmony, until a battle cruiser of a highly fortified and advanced battle cruiser of the Shadow Empire warlord exactly began attacking and planning. She realized that the Shadow Empire warlord was planning to lay waste to the entire world and planet and civilization, and she decided to exactly fight up against the Shadow Empire warlord and decided to take him down and permanently neutralizing him in the process. She used her forbidden powers and her connections to the earth and everything else, and she used the crystals and everything else she had been supplied upon her in order to take down the enemy, in order to bring his battle cruiser down. And the rest of the people, of the aliens and of the superhumans, exactly helped her to fight against up against the battle cruiser of the Shadow Empire warlord, and they gladly defeated him. And after all, she asked the Shadow Empire warlord the question: what would he exactly gain by attacking the rest of the planet? The rest of the planet and the rest of the civilization. The Shadow Empire warlord exactly told Earthchild that she was exactly doing this for the new Lord of Magic, and that he is soon exactly rising and ascending in power, and that he will complete his goal and his primary mission by any means necessary. Earthchild exactly realizes that the new Lord of Magic is becoming a greater, powerful, magnificent threat with him and the founders, and also the Universal Prince and also the Fallen. They will exactly soon rose to power, and use that power to create chaos and friction and turmoil throughout the sacred world and throughout the rest of sacred existence in the process as well. On the 29th of June, the civilization of the aliens exactly thanked Earthchild for saving the rest of their civilization and told her that she should go to the Intergalactic Coalition and present herself to the Intergalactic Coalition of the Four Nation Hunters and telling them her stories and everything else. They even gave her the coordinates to exactly go to the Intergalactic Coalition Central Headquarters in order for them to exactly believe it, that she was a whole reason that exactly saved their worlds and their planets from the enemy's attack and from everything else. In doing so, she was very grateful for that, and she journeyed straightly into the Intergalactic Coalition Central Headquarters and as well through their commands as well. On the 14th of July, Earthchild exactly arrived on the Intergalactic Coalition Central Headquarters, where she was able to tell the Four Nation Hunters and the elders of the Intergalactic Coalition that she had exactly seen everything and quietly witnessed everything, and that she's willing to become an ally and also a member, and also willing to exactly help the Intergalactic Coalition fight up against the Shadow Empire. The Intergalactic Coalition elders of the Four Nation Hunters exactly told Earthchild that they appreciate any help and any resources they can exactly need, and that it would be so great to exactly have her expertise and also her talents as well. Earthchild exactly gave the Intergalactic Coalition elders of the Four Nation Hunters every intelligence and every information about the evil warlords, commanders, dark druids, dark evil warlocks and dark druids and witches and faithful who are exactly planning their own empire, and also of the Shadow Empire warlords as well. They combine the intelligence and also as well as their knowledge and intellect and intelligence and knowledge as well, combining and realizing that this war is quietly taking a huge dark turn and a very gratefully of a darker turn. Indeed, it is entering the age of darkness or the age of chaos as well during at that time. On the 19th of July, Universal Man exactly arrived on the Intergalactic Coalition Central Headquarters, and the Intergalactic Coalition for 1900s presented Earthchild to Universal Man, telling him that she has been a marvelous, greater ally to their cause and also to their mission. Meaning, in other words, having her assistance to the team will be very gratefully invaluable and will be greatly needed after all. And Universal Man exactly shook hands with Earthchild, stated to him that they exactly completely welcome her to the Universal Heroes. Meaning, in other words, she's now official member of the Universal Heroes. But for that to happen, they need to exactly full gain trust in everything else of what she's done and her connections to the bad guys. And Earthchild decided to open up about her past and her history and everything else as well. On the 15th of August, Earthchild exactly entered the asteroid base of the Universal Heroes, where she was able to meet every Universal members of the Universal Heroes and of the World Heroes and of the Sacred Team and of the United Heroes, where she told them about her past and everything else and her connections to the bad guys as well. They were all quite accepting, and they decided to exactly accept her for who she is, and they decided to tell her that she's one of them now and that she's a member of the Universal Heroes. To this point, she exactly provided them all the ancient texts and all the ancient knowledge and everything else about the warlords, evil warlords, commanders, druids, witches, and faithful, and also about the ancient group of dark, powerful, formidable, about the dark and powerful ancient group of formidable dark druid, dark witch, dark faithful, dark sister, who have become known as the Order of the Four, the ancient secret society that with the goal to maintaining the cosmic balance of power by any means necessary, which she exactly decided to tell the Universal Heroes about these forces of evil and also about their plans and their goal. Together with Universal Magical, they compare notes and exactly decided to exactly compare their notes and their intelligence and everything else. On the 29th of August, Universal Earthchild exactly received an emergency beacon from one of the planets she saved many years ago, and she decided to go there with the assistance of the Universal Founders, who gladly exactly came to her aid in order to help her. They exactly found the rest of the known planet being laid to waste by the Shadow Empire warlords, commanders, battle cruisers, and also about the battle cruisers and warships laying waste to the entire planet and civilization. And they decided in order to act now and prevent it from being destroyed. The rest of the civilians, of the aliens and superhumans decided to work together to stop the attack and to stop the destruction of their world, and also they planned to stop the enemy once and for all, and decided to band together and work together. Earthchild used her connection to the earth and also used her manipulation and connection to the earth in order to manipulate the earth, and all of the rocks and stone and everything else to fight up against the Shadow Empire battle cruisers and warships and to take them down once and for all. And the Universal Founders gladly assisted her and also helped her taking down the enemy. and also destroying the battle crews in the process. They questioned the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, and the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly told them that they are the ones in power and they are the ones in control over their own faction, over their own faction, over their own groups of Shadow Empire warlord. Earthchild exactly realized that the Shadow Empire is divided in factions, and that even if the Dark Order, which is an ancient secret society of supervillains, has managed to control all of its power and all of its resources, the Shadow Empire is still currently divided in many factions, in many warring factions, as all the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders have exactly taken their own factions and their own clone and their own factions and their own factions and their own superiority and claim to the Shadow Empire in order for them to exactly fight for it and to seize control over it. Meaning, in other words, the sacred heroes exactly realize that their enemies are quietly fighting amongst themselves, and that the battle amongst themselves is creating turmoil and chaos throughout the sacred world and throughout the rest of the known universe as well in the process. Despite this, they were able to take the Shadow Empire warlord straightly into the astral prison to remain in custody for his crimes against the rest of the sacred world and against the rest of the known universe as well, which was previously exactly transferred there once and for all as well. On the 9th of September, Earthchild exactly began studying everything she knows about these four ancient, powerful, dark magic users who are the ones who trapped and banished the fallen many centuries ago. And she began exactly learning about their history and everything else, that they are the ones behind all that they are the ones behind the recent chaos and the recent destruction many centuries ago and many years ago. And she began to develop that they could be the source of all this trouble. They could be the source from all this chaos and from all this destruction as well from the very beginning. Despite that, exactly, Newborn exactly told Earthchild that all the resources of the Universal Heroes is still at her disposal and that she's free, that she can exactly feel free to use it in whatever way she exactly wants to exactly use it. And despite that, exactly, Earthchild exactly was very thankful to Newborn and telling him that she managed to discover the whole secrecy of the war. And she told the Universal Heroes the entire secrecy of the war and every one step and all of it completely, and she explained it to all of them completely. And Universal Man realizes that the balance of power has quietly shifted rapidly in a destructive and a more powerful way, meaning that the forces of evil are converging and they are all exactly about to fight for soul dominance and soul control over the sacred universe and over the sacred world, and for soul dominance over the rest of sacred existence, and also to make sure that their species and their people exactly remain the dominant species over the sacred universe and over the rest of sacred existence in the process. On the 29th of September, Earthchild exactly began studying everything she can and know about the evil warlords and commanders and everything else. And she was able to realize that the evil warlords and commanders and dark warlords and druids and witches are still in power and are still in control over the capital cities, over the magical capital cities of the volcanic cities, worlds and planets and everything else. And she realized that they exactly still are in power, and the only way for them to exactly be removed out of power is for them to destroy their source of power once and for all. On the 19th of October, Earthchild and the Universal Founders exactly traveled to the depths of the dark dimension in order to destroy a powerful dark crystal that's highly been activated for many centuries and for many years. Together, they fought up against the most powerful dark magic users, the Dark Druid, the Dark Witches, and the Dark Faithful, and completely exactly took them down. And Universal Earthchild used their connection of manipulating Earth in order to destroy the crystal's frequency and completely sabotaging the power of the dark magic of the crystal was completely destroyed and completely sabotaged within the battle. Despite that, the Universal Founders were completely very happy and very satisfied as they were able to gain victory over the battle against the most powerful dark magic users in disabling their power source and the rest of the evil warlords and commanders as well in the process as well. On the 29th of October, Universal Earthchild exactly met up with the Universal Heroes, and Universal Man and the rest of the World Heroes officially exactly inducted her and congratulated her to the Universal Heroes, meaning in other words that she's officially a member of the Universal Heroes and that she'll remain so as well. And doing so, she hugged the Universal Heroes and reviewed them as brothers and sisters, and also the World Heroes as brothers and sisters, meaning that they're in this battle and in this war together as well. On the 15th of November, Universal Earth Child celebrated her birthday with the rest of the Universal heroes, and she was very quietly feeling blessed and very quietly feeling blessed and grateful that she was able to celebrate her birthday even in the darkest of times. Even in the darkest of times, she realizes that the light of fighting up against the force of evil will still be there, and that they'll still exactly triumph to destroying the force of evil and easily taking them down and wiping them out and destroying their plans before they get to bear fruit as well. On the 20th of November, Universal Earth Child exactly met up with the leaders of the alien, and of the wolves, and of the fairies, and of the witches, and of the druids, in order for them to come together to disable the Shadow Empire's control over the other worlds and other civilization. And they come up with a better, perfect plan to do that as well, and with a better strategy and a very strategic strategy to disable the enemy's power and control over the other worlds and over the other civilization. And they come up with a very strategic plan in order to do that. On the 15th of December, Universal Earth Child and the Universal Founders and the Universal Monster Heroes and the alien and the fairy and the fairy and the fairy and the fairy and the alien and the fairy and the superhuman and the alien and the fairy and the witch and the druid and the warlock exactly came together with their forces and completely destroyed the entire sacred dark asteroid base that was quietly housed in the Shadow Empire Warlords command system, and completely destroyed it from the inside and out, destroying the communications tower and everything else along with it, jamming the communications circuit. They're jamming the communication and network frequency for them exactly communicating from one another, and they were all exactly celebrating as they realized that they all exactly became victorious in the war and in the battle as well. On the 26th of December, Universal Earth Child returned to her home planet, where she was able to exactly return to her apartment until she found a Dark Sister telling her that her victory is quietly going to be short less of a victory over the war, and she also told her that everything else is about to bear fruit and the plan is quietly being in place and implemented, that whatever that she's doing or trying to exactly do won't exactly succeed, because now the bad guys have become more powerful and very, very destructive, meaning that the plans of the future bad guys will get to bear fruit. And Universal Earth Child exactly told the Dark Sister that she will exactly do whatever it takes without in her power to stop her and the rest of her forces in order to make sure that their plans don't to get to bear fruit by any means necessary. Despite that, the Dark Sister was quietly very, very enlightened and very pleased of her inspiration and courage and her fiery spirit, and she told her that the war is about to take a darker turn than ever before, and the age of chaos will soon return as well. On the 15th of January, Universal Earth Child exactly met up with the Universal Founders and told them that they plan and strategy to enable to setting all the world free, and everything else is creating unwanted attention, and then everything else they're trying to do will only backfire to them. The Universal Founders exactly told Earth Child that whatever it is they're doing has created a revolution, and an also very good revolution and a rebellion of rebels who are willing to fight back from the supernatural, from the aliens, and from the superhumans, who are willing to join forces with us and are willing to take the war straightly to the force of evil. Meaning, in other words, it's time for them to pick up the pace and exactly take the battle and the war directly, straightly to the enemy by any means necessary as well. Despite that, Earth Child was very, very gratefully pleased and very, very successfully pleased with this devotion and very, very happy with this, meaning that her efforts and her plans have exactly get to bear fruit in order to disabling the enemy's power and also abilities from controlling and laying waste to other civilization in the process as well. Despite this, guys, Earth Child is very, very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, and also in swordsmanship, and also with the ability of manipulating Earth, and all the other crystals and magical abilities and power. She's the ability and power of marksmanship, the ability of hand-to-hand combat, and the ability of swordsmanship, and the ability of super speed and super hearing and super strength and dark ability, and also super hearing, and very, very quietly great in super sensing, and very quietly great with in marksmanship, and also in hand-to-hand combat. She's a very great assassin and a very great superhero who loves the supernatural world and the rest of the aliens and the rest of the superhumans, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to protect them and willing to make sure that she fights up against the forces of evil in order to disrupt their plans before they can exactly bear fruit. She's a high-ranking member of the Universal Heroes, and she's willing to exactly join forces with. I'm sorry, guys, exactly for that noise and for that interruption. Exactly, literally, guys, completely sorry about that. Despite that, guys, she's willing to exactly join forces with them, and she's very, very quietly, completely compassionate over protecting and serving the rest of the Universal Heroes' goals and making sure that they get to bear fruit. And she believes in them completely, willing to disrupt the bad guys' plan and also in their goals from bearing fruit. And she's willing to do whatever it takes to stopping the bad guys' plan before they can exactly bear fruit. She's very, very excellent in hand-to-hand combat and also in swordsmanship, a very, 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 very excellent level genius superhero who has lived throughout the sacred world for many years and for many centuries, raised by the evil warlords and commanders and dark druids and dark witches and warlocks who exactly raised her to become a powerful professional assassin and supervillain. After that, she realizes that her masters are very evil and are very quietly cruel, and she decided to defect. And she defected many, 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 many years ago. She maintains her usual basis of operation as well as her central headquarters, which is, after all, her cave where she exactly works in full secrecy, where she can exactly study. And she uses the Universal Heroes basis of operation for her to successfully exactly study the ancient texts and knowledges about her enemies, and about her foes in order to take them down. And she quietly believes in the Universal Heroes' goals to exactly maintaining sacred peace and sacred balance and harmony to the sacred world and to the rest of sacred existence in the process. And by any means necessary, she's willing to successfully able to do that as well. She quietly believes in it, and she's willing to make sure that their goals exactly get to bear fruit, even disrupting the goals of the greatest and most formidable ancient villains and bad guys that she's ever fought and come up across against, known as the Dark Sisters, the evil warlords, commanders, warlocks, dark druids, dark witches, dark faithful, the Universal Prince, the Lord of the Trough, the Lord of the Power, the new Lord of Magic, the new Lord of Magic, and also in his organization, and also the founders and the Dark King and Dark Grey and all the other ancient villains she's able to come up across. She's willing to make sure that their goals don't get to bear fruit by any means necessary, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to protecting planet Earth and the rest of humanity from the force of evil. She's very, very caring and very compassionate, and she loves the Universal Heroes as she views them as one of her brothers and sisters and comrades in arms, and she's willing to join forces with them to fight up against their common enemy in disrupting their plans before they get to bear fruit. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I all hope you have a wonderful, blessed evening and an afternoon as well. Take care of yourself, and I'm very grateful for your support in watching and in viewing as well. Just know one thing, guys. I won't be able to upload tomorrow's episode tomorrow. I'll upload it on Monday, which will be the last week where I'm exactly shooting these episodes. So have a blessed weekend and an afternoon and an afternoon and evening. I'll exactly see you tomorrow. Take care and bye. Bye.